Hi guys, today I'm so excited to do this video. This video is about Spanish, which I absolutely love. If you didn't know already, I can actually speak Spanish. I just love everything to do with languages, Spanish, learning, and yeah, I'm gonna share all the tips and tricks that I learned across the year of learning Spanish. I'm just gonna get straight into it. The tips that I have accumulated since I started learning Spanish, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that I did. It wasn't an overnight thing, as you can imagine. It's a whole other language. And I'm gonna share all the tips with you so you don't have to start from scratch in the way that I did, and you can already have a lovely bank of resources ready to go and just like jump straight into it. So I'm gonna share everything that I used, everything that I did. You might like love the resources just as much, or you might have an alternative that you like as well. And like, if you do find an alternative, or if you are learning Spanish yourself, or any language to be honest, please comment the resources that you do use, because I'm always looking for more stuff that I don't know. But this is just like what I've managed to find in the past year and a half that I have been studying Spanish. I would say that I became like fluent. It's hard to like give a pinpoint because there's always going to be so much vocabulary you don't know, and there's going to be so many times when you like stutter and like trip over yourself. But I would say that I was comfortable, very comfortable in the language a year in, like very comfortable. So comfortable that I booked a ticket by myself, solo trip to Colombia. I just was like, I want to go Colombia, and then I went and I had a great time and I met so many people and I spoke Spanish, and oh, my heart goes out to Medellin. I viva Colombia. For credibility purposes, I am going to speak a bit in Spanish just so you know that like my resources work, you know? Just for the credibility. Okay, so hola a todos, ¿cómo están el día de hoy? Espero que estén muy bien, tranquilos y relajados. En este video voy a enseñarte cómo yo aprendí el español desde cero. Yo empecé hace 1 año y medio, pero yo creo que después de 1 año yo podía hablar más o menos muy bien. Y no sé, estoy grabando este video porque muchas personas me preguntan cómo yo aprendí, por qué estoy aprendiendo, y yo quiero compartir todo con ustedes en este momento. Y también, bueno, yo tengo muchísimo para decir, como yo tengo demasiado que decir, y obviamente yo cometo errores cuando yo hablo, que es algo normal, y no me siento mal cuando yo hago algo así, porque estoy muy dispuesta cuando alguien quiere corregirme. ¿Ok? Vale, bien. Okay, so back to English. Starting off with, I am just like so excited for this video. The first thing that I did, might seem kind of surprising, but I used this little baby here, Duolingo. I used Duolingo for the first 3 months, and honestly my intentions were just to have a starting point. And Duolingo is perfect for that, because Spanish is scary. All languages are scary. When you've been speaking one language your whole life and now it's time to learn something else, it's scary and you don't know where to start. But Duolingo is so easy. Like, it's so easy, it's so welcoming, it's so inviting, it's a great place to start. It makes you feel so good when you get things right, and that is the same energy that you need to carry you through this Spanish learning journey. So I would definitely say, don't sleep on Duolingo, don't sleep on those other language learning apps. I think there's Babbel, Busuu, Mesmerize. There are a lot, but Duolingo is free. You can use any of them. If you're willing to pay for Babbel, Mesmerize, do it. Just do it, and then or get Duolingo. Like, just do it. I did that for 3 months, and it was really fun. 3 months. That was when stuff was easy. While I was using Duolingo in those 3 months, I did a bit of research and I discovered a page called SpanishDictionary.com, and I have spoken about it earlier on this channel, just a tiny bit. It looks like this. SpanishDictionary.com, previously called SpanishDict.com, as in dict, short for dictionary, but they changed the name. Don't know why. Anyway, you can learn new words on there, you can learn vocabulary, you can learn grammar, like everything. That, I'd say, was the foundation to it all, you know? Like, without Spanish Dictionary, I don't know where I'd be. Like, how do I say the future tense? How do I say the past tense? Obviously, if you haven't learned Spanish in school, or you haven't learned it professionally in a school setting, you're not gonna know these stuff. You're not gonna know what the difference is between a verb and a noun. Duh. A Spanish Dictionary is really good for like actually learning the basics, and more than the basics, like the fundamentals of the language. Future tense, past tense, present tense, new words, blah blah blah, everything. If you're interested, have a look at it. I will link all the resources below. I will link all the podcasts, I will link all the books, I will link all the YouTube channels. Everything I will give to you if you subscribe. Just subscribe. Like, seriously, I'm literally dropping gems right now. Chicos, ¿por qué estás esperando? Suscríbete. Duh. Something else that I did quite early on was I started watching a YouTube series because Netflix is way too hard. Like, it's so hard. Like, even now, like, I can watch Netflix in Spanish now, like, without subtitles, but don't let anybody fool you. Like, I can watch Spanish without subtitles. Like, so I can watch Netflix. See, even in English, I mess up. Do you know what I mean? Like, my brain. Even in English, I'm not even making sense. Try Spanish. Like, what? I can watch Netflix in Spanish without subtitles, right? Cool flex. But, like, don't have anyone telling you that's a beginner move, because it's not. Those people that said they learn Spanish by watching Netflix, like, they low-key, like, lied. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they lied to you. You can watch Netflix in Spanish, but if you don't understand, like, where the phrases are coming from or what anything is, you're gonna spend years and years trying to decode that and put it together and make sense of it, when you could just learn it. I don't want to sit through something that I don't understand for hours and hours and hours, when I could literally just look it up. So instead of Netflix, what I would watch is series on YouTube. But these are series that are targeted at beginners, and this is why they work. They speak slowly, so you can actually, like, hear what they're saying. You can hear the words separately. You can get used to how they sound. You can actually, like, your brain has time to think. The clogs are spinning, it has time to work, rather than Netflix, which just completely goes over your head and you didn't really catch anything. You didn't really learn anything. I forgot what it's called, but I will put it in the description. It's like a Google plugin, and it gives you subtitles, but double subtitles. So subtitles in English and subtitles in your target language, in my case Spanish. So it would have the Spanish subtitle and then the English subtitle underneath it. It was really, really good, and it's free as well. Every single resource that I'm mentioning right now is free. You can do this for free. Like, you don't have to pay anything. It's just gonna take time and effort. But time and effort, and it will just bring you so much joy. Like, if this is really something you want to do, if you really want to be a bilingual babe, si tú quieres aprender un idioma if you really want to be bilingual, trilingual, whatever, it's going to take time and effort, but it doesn't have to cost you. Also, loads of podcasts you can listen to as well, and podcasts are really good when you're on the go, obviously. Your podcast should be a bit challenging, but you understand enough that it's still enjoyable, because if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to want to do it, and you're not going to be consistent with it, and you're just going to like sigh and feel like really I will link below a bunch of podcasts that I have listened to. So with the YouTube channels, you can find content that is actually educational, that will literally teach you the Spanish language itself. Like, there are teachers on YouTube that their whole career is teaching Spanish online on YouTube for free, and they're really, really good. And not just YouTube in an educational way, because there's actually so much non-related to, like, learning Spanish videos that you can find in Spanish. Whatever video I wanted to watch in English, I just type it in Spanish. Like a makeup tutorial as well, como hacer mi maquillaje, la manera muy sencillo y bonita y muy rápido antes del colegio o algo así. Something that I started doing pretty early on, even though I literally couldn't even speak Spanish at this point, like, I couldn't. I would try to record myself speaking on my phone or my laptop, speaking to myself, like literally what I'm doing now. I would do a video diary, and I would just waffle and rant on about my life, my day, what happened.
Quiero... Hola. 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 Hola a todos. Hola, chicas y chicos. 3, 2, 1. Hola, chicas!
That's really good for, like, fluency. I'd say fluency, your accent, your pronunciation, just, you know, speaking. It's good speaking practice, especially if you're like me and you don't know anybody that speaks Spanish. It's really, really flattering, actually, but when people do speak to me, sometimes they think that my parents speak Spanish or something, and I'm like, no, like, I did this, you know. Something that I started doing 1 year in, this is by the point, but when I was already fluent. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing this because I'm better now than I was then. But I was still fluent then, but like, I'm fluenter now. And so this was about a year in. You can go to a language exchange. Half the people speak English as their native language and the other half speak Spanish. And the point is that you mingle and you help them with their English and they help you with their Spanish. I would also say read books. Another thing you can do on the train, on the bus, on the way to school, on the way to college, on the way to uni, on the way to work, you know, read a book. At the moment, I'm reading this book. If you're subscribed, you've seen this book before because it's in my vlogs, like you know, all the time. It's in my vlogs because I do carry it around with me. I carry it around with me so much that, like, bro, look. As you can see from it just... inside here you can see I'd like highlight words that I didn't know. And then what I would do is, and I still do this kind of, I don't really do it as much, but that's just really out of laziness. I should really be doing it because it's really, really good. But highlight the words you don't know when you're reading something and then put it into a flashcard deck. Some people use Anki, which is so disgusting compared to SpanishDictionary.com. Like, SpanishDictionary.com is so much better. You would not catch me using Anki to learn Spanish ever. Also, this is an intermediate / advanced intermediate, I'd say, book. This is the equivalent book that I would read in English. So I will also link books that I started with, because don't get it twisted, honey. Like, I did not start reading this book. When I first opened and saw the first page of this book, I said, whoa, ain't no way, like no way. But I knew that if I kept persistent, one day I would be able to read it, like one day. But don't get it twisted, I did not start with this book. Do not start with this book. If I had started with this book, I would have only been deceiving myself, and it would have taken me a lot longer to get to this stage. The last thing that I could say, italki as well. You can speak to natives from across the world, really, for about £5. Out of all the tips that I said, I wouldn't say that one is crucial at all. It definitely doesn't rank like near the top of the most useful things that I did, but you know, I'm just throwing it out there as well if you're interested. Like right now in Spanish, I don't really sit here spending hours and hours like studying it like I did when I just started, because the basic grammar, like I've got it on lock. And at this point, what I'm doing is I'm listening, I'm speaking, I'm learning new words. It gets more and more fun. That hill, that like steep mountain, once you get over that beginner's hurdle of like learning the basics and like having your mind feel like it's melting, you know, because you're doing all the conjugations. Once you know all of that and you've passed all of that, that's when you begin to fly. And that's when it's just so much fun. But I would have never got here if it wasn't for them. Just rest assured that it does get easier and it gets more enjoyable, because you can start having fun with the language, you can start speaking the language, you can start making jokes in the language. Like, it gets comfortable, it gets fun. Most people give up at the early stages because it is so challenging. They don't really get to see what happens after, when it gets fun, when you start flying in the language, you know. So that's all for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe after taking all my tips and running away with them. Ciao.